The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. Well, here it is, Pound's Black Friday deal. From Black Friday through Cyber Monday, all remaining standard non-deluxe Octothorpes will be $100 off. Big discount, $299.99. There's two colors left, Cryptek Typhon and Sage, along with Orange and Cryptek Typhon. So head over to PoundDiscGolf.com, grab yourself the biggest discount you're going to see all year on an Octothorpe. There's probably going to be some other fun sales as well. Stay tuned to Pound's social media platforms to find out about those. Welcome to The Upshot, Multi-World Disc Golf's podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. I'm the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me is Josh Mansfield. It's Thanksgiving week, Josh, and a chance for us to take, well, a little bit of a break. We're only going to have one show this week. We're going to enjoy the holiday. We hope you do the same. And, you know, normally, Josh, we do kind of a very thoughtful, introspective Thanksgiving episode where we talk about what we're thankful for and blah, blah, blah. But it just, I don't know. It just didn't, all of those things are still true. Going to do those things with my family. But I didn't feel like doing it this year on the show. Well, are you okay with that?
I'm very okay with that. I've been saving this one though since I don't know, October. I've been thinking about this one for a long time though.
Okay.
I'm thankful that Calvin didn't win a major, so I don't have to fly to New York and buy you dinner.
Oh, Josh would hate to have to come to New York City.
No. I think it'd be fun to go to New York City. I'm more worried about the fact that you would pick a restaurant that would cost me as much as a plane ticket because I know those options exist in New York.
I wouldn't do that.
Okay. Right.
Is there even such a place in Pocatello? There's got to be a fancy white tablecloth kind of a place, but
there is. How
much are plates?
The nicest restaurant is called the Yellowstone.
Oh, that sounds nice.
It's in an old hotel. And so the hotel is just used now for a restaurant. And then if you move back, it's got like a whiskey bar, and then it's got a brewery in the back. Okay. And so it's this real cool old building. I would say like the most expensive plate, if you wanted for just like the entree, most expensive plate that you're going to spend is probably in like the $50 range.
I'm just pulling up their website. Most plates in the 30s.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They have a bison tenderloin steak for $45, and that's as high as it gets. Yeah, that's like a mid-tier restaurant pricing in New York City.
Yeah.
There's plenty of inexpensive, very good restaurants in New York, but you can also go to a steakhouse where you're going to spend over $100 on a steak.
Yeah.
I never go to those places.
Yeah, you can't find that in Pocatello. So.
Well, see, the thing is, if we're going to get a steak, I'm going to come there.
Okay.
The Yellowstone, that place sounds awesome. You ever go there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love it there. It's super good. There you have their basil chicken is really good. And I typically don't get chicken at restaurants just because I usually feel like I can do it myself.
Right.
So that one's
I'm right
good.
there with you, by the way.
Yeah. Their appetizers, like you can go and just eat their appetizers too. Get some flatbread pizzas and the seared ahi tuna, the steak tips and the Brussels sprouts. Like it's good food.
Love it.
One secret trick, that back brewery on Mondays. So they actually share a kitchen with the Yellowstone. And on Mondays, they do $5 burgers. So you get the same burger that you would buy if you were going to the Yellowstone.
That's an easy call.
But for $5 with fries.
That's an easy call. The Monday trick around here, Guadalupe, is like a Dominican steak and seafood place.
Okay.
In Inwood, where I live. Mm-hmm. Mondays, 2-for-1 drinks all night.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Great time. Great
time.
All right. Let's get into some Thanksgiving chatter. Okay. We're doing something. I'm going to admit it. This is weird, but you know what? It's going to be kind of fun. And maybe you can play along at home. We're going to make a little dinner menu for Thanksgiving, but we're going to pick the discs that most exemplify each of the foods on our plate.
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna have it's a little bit of a limited menu,
Sure.
admittedly, but still solid. We're not missing anything obvious, I don't think. We're gonna have our turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, stuffing, cranberry sauce, green bean casserole, and we'll close off the meal with pumpkin pie. Now, Josh, before we go on and pick these discs, maybe we've done this before, but what is your favorite Thanksgiving food?
You know, I don't know. I think we did do this before, and I don't remember what my answer used to be. But my new answer is the green bean casserole.
Really?
Yes, because I make it from scratch. And like,
when you say scratch, do you mean like
fresh green beans?
Okay.
Blanch the green beans. Yeah, I make the stuffing or the topping. The only thing that like isn't is like the fried onion strips or whatever, like the little crunchy things. I don't remember what they're called.
You can make those at home, but it's
not worth it. But you mix that with like bread, and you make your own like breading for the topping. I make my own cream of mushroom soup.
You make your own. So that's what I was going to ask you. You make your own cream of mushroom soup.
Own cream of mushroom soup.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's impressive.
So you make it all from, basically except the little crunchy things from scratch. And it is just, I mean, green bean casserole is good anyways, but it is a 10 out of 10 when you do it
I don't
yourself.
think I've ever had fully from scratch green bean casserole.
It's good stuff.
Like, mostly you're buying the Campbell's cream of mushroom soup, throwing it in there. And that's good.
It is good.
But I can only imagine if you make it from scratch.
I saw,
Fantastic.
I saw like, it was like 7 months ago, I saw a recipe for homemade cream of mushroom soup that was different than the one I've used. And I used it and made it as a topping. So like I made it a little thicker and made it and put it on some like chicken thighs. And it was amazing. So
Wow.
I've made green bean casserole not for Thanksgiving because
I
it's
love
great.
it.
What about you? Favorite?
I think I would just go straight up stuffing.
Okay, I think that used to be my answer.
Which I also make from scratch.
Oh,
Typically, when I make Thanksgiving dinner, like I kind of go hard.
Okay.
This year, I don't know if it's going to happen. It's kind of a TBD. We were recording this episode on my wife's due date. The baby has not arrived yet. Will we get to Thanksgiving before the baby arrives? I don't know. But if so, I'm going to cook. So yeah, like I make my own gravy from scratch. I like cut up the chicken neck, like sear all the like giblets and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm using my own chicken stock that I made previously just to build my gravy out. It cooks for like 3 hours, cook it down, turn it into gravy, stuffing from scratch. And it's just so good. You put that gravy on that stuffing. Unbelievable.
It's interesting. Well, actually, we'll get into it. That sounds amazing.
Okay. Let's begin. So the exercise, again, we're going to give the category, and then we're going to share our disc selection and then explain why that is the disc that we chose for the slot.
Yep.
Okay. Let's begin.
Okay.
We got to start with turkey. It's obvious. Josh, I'll let you begin.
Oh, the turkey was what I was going to say. I don't care how people cook it. Turkey is still never my favorite, and I would always prefer a ham over turkey. But in terms of turkey, it's the center. You have to have it. You're going to eat some of it, and you might be happy about it. You might not. Depends on what kind of cut you get and who cooked it. But it literally has to be there. So I'm gonna go with the PD. A good, solid, overstable driver, fairway driver that is just always in the bag. And man, you want to throw different shots sometimes, but that the stock hyzer is the right throw to make, and so you pull out the PD. That's what I think of it when I think of turkey.
When you talk about meat and potatoes, you're talking about turkey is one of the quintessential. I mean, here's the thing about turkey. It's not the best, right? It's not the best meat. How often do you eat turkey for dinner outside of Thanksgiving?
I actually eat ground turkey all the time.
I also do eat some ground turkey.
Okay.
But it's rare for me.
Oh, okay. See,
a couple times a year max.
I don't like ground beef in most recipes.
Interesting.
Like, except for a burger, I will use ground turkey and substitute it in for ground beef on literally everything.
Okay.
I have more ground turkey in my freezer, but
similarly versatile, if slightly less flavorful.
Sure. And then but if you season it well and don't,
you won't know the difference.
Right. But like a regular turkey, it's so dry.
Right. Now I will say, if you cook it correctly, like you can definitely mitigate some of the
agreed
negative features of turkey. People tend to overcook their turkey.
Yes.
But it's still just not the best, right? It's not the best. Right. But you still it's something that you rely on, that you need, that you're going to have as a disc that you go to over and over. And for me, that's the Undertaker. I think, you might argue that there are better discs in this slot. But for me, that's the one that I throw a lot. If I'm on a hole, like I can shape the disc in various ways, and it's just a go-to.
Yeah.
A lot straighter than a PD.
Okay. So mashed potatoes up next.
All right, so mashed potatoes. I don't know. It's just like this was a workhorse, right? It's not like it's not too special. There's nothing like flashy. It's just solid. For me, that's the envy.
Okay.
But just a rock solid disc. It's still just kind of a putter. Like it's nothing. You're not wowing people when you throw an envy. But if you just need that solid workhorse disc, and sometimes you need to spice it up with some gravy or something and throw something different. But a lot of times you can just stick with the envy.
Same thing. I went with the Buzz. It's also one that you're just about full, and so you need a little bit more. And you're like, so what am I going to go for? And you know what? I could do just a little bit. It's because if you go over and you get like, I don't know, you can get a silver dollar sized amount of potatoes and nobody would judge you for that. That's like, yeah, you just needed a little bit more to finish it off. And so like, if I'm like, I just got a little bit more to finish it, I'll just grab the Buzz real quick. I have thrown a Buzz under 75 feet before because that just was what felt most comfortable at that time. So Buzz takes the spot there.
All right, we move on to gravy.
It's my turn. Yeah. Okay. Gravy, role player. If you are eating it by itself, you're a weirdo. This is one that has to be paired with something else. It's never going to be the star of the show, but man, do you need it. And that's why I give it to the Berg. Very, very infrequently do I ever throw, and I know some people do, but I almost never throw my Berg off the tee. If I want to throw a putter off the tee, I've got other things I'm going to throw. The only thing I'm doing for the Berg is just approach shots, right? Get out of jail. Something has already happened before I will ever reach for the Berg, and that is the gravy. It is never the first thing on my plate. It is going to follow something else. Whether that's the turkey, the mashed potatoes, the stuffing, or all three of them, the Berg will follow, but it never is on its own.
I love the way that you thought about this one because I went a completely different direction.
Okay.
Because my concept, as you just basically described there at the end, is that gravy can go on everything, right? You can just put gravy on anything on your plate, basically.
Yep.
And it's going to improve it. Mm-hmm. So I wanted a disc that is like ultra versatile because I can use it in any circumstance, in any scenario, and that for me is the Buzz.
There you go.
That for me is the Buzz. I get why you picked Buzz for mashed potatoes, but like when I'm not sure what I should throw, I know I can throw the Buzz and get a reasonable shot out of it. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I'm going with.
Okay, what's up next?
Well, you tell me.
Oh yeah. I lead. We got the stuffing now. So Charlie, this is your favorite dish, right? So I'm excited to hear what dish you've chosen.
Yeah, so that's true. But I didn't necessarily choose it as like, this is my favorite disc because this is my favorite dish. I was thinking about stuffing. I was like what defines stuffing really? I mean, it's like there's a lot of different things in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to pick a disc that had a lot of versatility that you could use in various scenarios and get different shot shapes out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Relative to a disc like, for say, the Buzz, which I think is probably also true of a Buzz, but like that's a disc that you can choose in almost any scenario that you're on the course in. But this, I wanted to have a disc where I could be like, if I want a shot that finishes this way, I can throw it, I can throw it on Anheuser. If I want to throw it straight, I can do that. If I want to just keep it on Heiser, I can do that. And I'm going to go with a disc that's a little bit faster, and that's a Grace. Just a super versatile disc. It's easy. Like when you need to throw when you need something longer than a mid, but you're not just trying to throw a max distance shot. Like the Grace fills that slot so much. I might end up throwing this more than my Undertaker in the future. We'll see.
Okay. All right. So I kind of went the same way in the terms of I thought of it in the same way I thought of the gravy, except the big difference is you can eat stuffing by itself. Right. Now I'm always going to I'll get some stuffing and then spare a piece of turkey or kind of mix up like the mashed potatoes and the stuffing where they sit next to each other. Like I'm mixing paints. So that way, I have like 3 dishes right there. But you can also just eat stuffing on its own. So I also went with a disc for me that's extremely versatile, but that I will drive with and enjoy driving with. That's the Hatchet. I remember I went to the disc golf shop and I went in and I said, look, like I need a disc that's like that I can hyzer flip easily, but not that's just like crazy understable. And he goes, oh, well, the Hatchet's a -2-1. This guy didn't know what he was talking about because he gives it to me, and this is the flippiest disc I've ever put in my bag. But I have thrown some of the most wild. I've thrown my best and worst shots with a Hatchet, and so I love throwing it. It's a lot of fun.
So it's super flippy. You feel like the numbers are a lie.
It's a lie. It's a -3 at least. I remember there was one hole in particular that like I put tons of hyzer, flip it to flat. It drifts right around a group of trees, comes back down on the left side. And the locals said it was the furthest shot they've ever seen on that hole. But the only way it happened is like just with how much flip I could get out of that disc and how late the flip is. So it's a magic disc.
Wild. All right. We move on to cranberry sauce.
All right. I've got a family story that is going to explain why here. One year, my aunt makes cranberry sauce. And she wanted to make it from scratch. Great.
Sure.
Things from scratch are usually better.
Sure.
So she makes this cranberry sauce. It looks amazing. Put it all over my turkey, and I take a bite. And it is one of the most foul, disgusting foods I've ever put in my mouth. Because she washed the cranberries with dish soap and didn't wash it off well enough. So literally there's just dish soap in the cranberry sauce. I feel like cranberry sauce is a destroyer where every year I look at it and I'm like, man, I'm going to throw that disc and it's going to be amazing. And then I take a bite and I'm like, nope, can't throw that disc. Putting that one back on the shelf for the year. I don't know why. My family can't do a good cranberry sauce and I wish they could, but.
Why don't you guys just get the canned jelly sauce? It's so good.
We have, and then they do something to it, and they have. It's so weird. So that's how I feel about the destroyer. I wish I had better cranberry sauce more often.
Wow. Well, see, I love cranberry sauce, so I'm not. That's not the direction I'm going in here. For me, cranberry sauce is a very important piece of the Thanksgiving plate because everything else is kind of just like brown and heavy. The stuffing is brown. The gravy is brown. The turkey is brown. Even the green bean casserole ends up being brown.
Yeah.
So you end up kind of like eating a lot of the samey types of food with similar richness. And just cranberry sauce is key because it cuts through. You actually get some acidity and brightness and color on the plate.
Great point.
And so I'm going with a disc that can just like cut through when you need that particular shot. And for me, that is a yarn that was given to me in Sweden that's got to be the most overstable disc I've ever thrown. I mean,
Really?
I know that sometimes people say a yarn is like glidier and like can go kind of far, still finishes, pretty
That's how mine
consistently.
is.
No. This thing is a brick. It will not fly. It will not fly. Like, even if you put it on Annie, it's like, I'm dumping. I'm out. And so, when you need that shot, it's nice to have that. And having that super utility disc is helpful, as is the cranberry sauce on the plate.
All right. I love it.
All right. Green bean casserole. Josh, your fantastic green bean casserole. What are we talking about here?
Yeah. So when we were picking dishes, we had one left, and you before the show, and you said, I need one more Thanksgiving dish, and I said green bean casserole. Right, number one, it's my favorite. And you said, do you remember what you said to me after I said it?
I said we needed a vegetable. I think
that's right. My green bean casserole disc is a tomb. It's listed as a putter. It says it's a putter. It pretends that it's a vegetable. It's not. It's not actually a vegetable. The tomb overperforms as a putter, and I have stepped up to holes, and I pull a tomb out of my bag, and people look at me like I have lost my mind, and then I get my tomb there every single time. I don't know what it is about that disc. I love it. It's my favorite disc, so that's favorite green bean casserole. But it is a vegetable in disguise. When you think vegetable, you're like, oh man, that kids, I don't want to eat my vegetables. Now with the green bean casserole, everybody wants to eat that. And it always outperforms what a normal green beans would. That's where my tomb goes.
Well, see, I have a kind of a similar idea here. So for me, right, green bean casserole in particular is just, it's a fake vegetable, right? You're really eating cream of mushroom soup and like salt and fat.
With some texture.
With some like chunkiness.
Yeah.
Now, are you getting some vegetables? Sure. But like really, you're kind of cheating. That's the same way I feel when I throw a zone to the basket. Okay. Like, can I pretend that I'm like a good disc golfer, like putting the disc near the basket? Sure. But how am I doing it? I'm cheating. I still remember Simon Lizotte was in the Paul Macbeth practice video. So I think they were throwing each other's
switched the bags.
discs.
Yeah, when they
and he was
bags.
like, the zone is such a cheater disc. This is ridiculous. Like, because at the time he was on Discmania, and like, do they really have that disc?
No,
really.
Because remember, they made the Razor Claw for Eagle.
Yeah.
And even, it took a while to get the Razor Claw right. And Eagle used to throw an MD5.
Right. So I just always remember that. And I feel the same way. I'm like, it's just going to stop flying and go right there and not skip. So that's my green bean casserole, my fake cheater disc.
Yeah.
We're going to finish the meal, Josh, with pumpkin pie. And I think I'm up first here. You know what? Pumpkin pie, close out the meal. Delicious. Yep. Just like when you putt for birdie with Judge. It's been my go-to putter for a while. And I've knocked down some enormous putts with a Judge and finished off enormous Thanksgiving dinners with a slice of pumpkin pie. I also like a little pecan pie, but didn't have space for it on our table today.
Okay. Same thought process, but I'm going to add one more thing to mine. Every year there's an assortment of pies, right? Everyone wants to bring a different pie, and I try them all, and then I'm disappointed that I wasted the space on every other pie that is not pumpkin pie.
It's fair.
I putt with a pair of Ricos that I've had for 3 years, and they go out of my bag for 2 or 3 months because I'm trying a different putter. And then I'm like, man, why do I do this to myself? And I put them back in the bag. And it is the same pair of Ricos. Every time I put them back in, my brother-in-law is like, why don't you just get a fresh pair? And I'm like, I don't want a fresh pair. I want these seasoned Ricos. They fly dead straight. I put them straight at the post every time. And I don't know why I waste my time with other putters.
Well, you must not make a lot of putts then, Josh, if you keep switching to something else.
I go through periods that I don't, and then I put them back in, and I don't miss a thing. So I don't know why I ever take it out. I'm resisting the urge because, man, sometimes you feel something, and you're like, wow, that feels great. Nope. K3 soft Ricos. I use them all the time, and I always come back to them. I don't know why I mess around with other pies.
Well, there you go. That is a conclusion to our Thanksgiving episode. We want to hear what discs you would put in slots on your plate. You can pick our food categories or send us in your own. Let us know what you're thinking. Upshot@ultiworld.com, or find us in the Discord if you're an Ultiworld Disc Golf subscriber. Josh, have a very happy Thanksgiving, my friends.
You as well. You as well.
All right. We will be back with you next week. Just one episode this week. So appreciate you being here, and we will talk to you next time.